Amigos de TV Agro, estamos hoy en la finca La Linda.
Friends of TV Agro, today we are at the La Linda farm on the Alto Rubiano Trail. I am Mireya Ardila, and today we are going to tell you about the production of avocado Lorena in association with Mandarina Arroyana, under the practices of sustainable tropical production, with management of weeds and products that are manufactured within the same farm of biopreparations, and we will also know a little of what is the transformation of the savanna soil. We are also going to learn about the transformation of the savanna soil into a soil with a healthy cover, with broadleaf weeds that attract bees, and perhaps in the background we'll be able to hear the buzzing of the bees from the flowering of the avocado trees. In this case, we have visitors from above. This shows a little of the biodiversity that is used on the farm for the friendly management with the surroundings, with the environment. Here we have some avocado trees that have just passed the harvest and are in bloom. That is why the sound of the bees. This is a crop that we have in this soil. The avocado is more or less 8 years old. We have 8-year-old trees, 5-year-old trees, and 2-year-old trees. We have different ages. It is not a monoculture. We do not manage monoculture. We manage it in association with Mireya Tangelo orange and Arroyana mandarin. Why? We do this in order to have production all year round. When the avocado harvest is finished, the mandarin enters, the Tangelo orange enters, the Tahiti lime, the mangosteens, the rambutans. In other words, the producer always has a cash flow. There is a permanent income. In addition to this, there is also biodiversity that is so important and that we must take into account in our agricultural projects. I do not know if we can show a little bit of the weeds that surround us, which are broadleaf flowers and make the different animals arrive. Bees, mosquitoes, hummingbirds, which are pollinating agents for our crops.
Este terreno que conforma esta finca lo adquirimos hace...
We acquired this land that makes up this farm approximately 27 years ago, thinking of having an area for our daughters to make the link, to establish the link with the field. Then later we made the decision to cultivate it, and we began to think about which crop we would establish with total ignorance as many came to agriculture. We arrived completely unaware of what to grow and the soil conditions. We decided to grow citrus, finding ourselves with a tremendously hard soil that opened up in summer, with no organic matter layer.
Sin capa de materia orgánica, donde plantamos los primeros 4,000 árboles de cítricos.
Where we planted the first 4,000 citrus trees, and they had difficulty to grow because they could not open roots in such a hard soil. And we had to apply a lot of fertilizers. Searching and searching, we found the practice of tropical production where we were explained that we were applying techniques extrapolated from the subtropics.
Que no eran aplicables en el trópico porque nosotros estábamos pelando el suelo.
That were not applicable in the tropics because we were peeling the soil, leaving it completely uncovered, which in fact already came from that same type of practice, and the soil dried out. It got hot and did not have the microbiotas, the microorganisms that move inside and oxygenate the soil. So it was a very poor soil, very sad, so to speak. To be able to transform it and make the plant receive all the nutrients in due time when they were applied. From there, we moved on to the management of the arbences, the nitrogen-fixing plants, the leguminous plants. We started with kudzu and mucuna, with a button of gold, and finally we also came to the fodder peanut.
El cultivo del aguacate es un cultivo que requiere de mucho cuidado.
The avocado crop is a crop that requires a lot of care, affection, and observation. Because it must be fertilized, it has to be destrupoñando, pruning, making the enhancement so that it does not form the shadow and that leads to the formation of much fungus. Then, it must always have aeration and plenty of sunlight. In these 2-3 lots, we have them in association with a mandarin. We are also pruning the mandarin, as it is getting very close to the avocado trees. The mandarin trees are already 20 years old. So, let's say that they are already finishing their cycle of good production. We are already focusing on a new crop that will share land with the avocado, and in this case, we are going to mix it with the rambutan R134. As the mandarin leaves, the rambutan enters, to make the maximum use of the soil and always have production and product available to offer in the markets.
Disponible para ofertar en los mercados. También en el nuevo enfoque de la finca como tal.
Also in the new approach to the farm as such, we are starting the certification process with ASO Frucal as facilitator of this process. Initially, we will start with the certification of exporting farm, which is very important for all farmers to be certified, because in that way guarantees that our product can achieve a better price, because we will reach international markets.
Averiguar en la región qué producto se produce en las fincas.
Always find out in the region what product is produced on the farms that has international sales. Because, for example, in the case of mandarins do not have an international outlet at this time. It is a fruit that will always be subject to the price of the domestic market, and when the domestic market is saturated, or the other regions also leave with their mandarin production to the floor. So, in that order of ideas, we have the avocado that is going to be certified, the mangosteen, the rambutan R134, and the Tahitian lime. These are 4 products that we are going to have with the possibility of obtaining a better price per kilo, and because they have international sales. And the mandarin, it is going to continue there at the same level because there are really too many trees to eliminate them all. And we should not be ungrateful because for 18 years, 17 years, they collaborated in the economic support of the farm. So we are going to take them little by little.
Amigos dedicados a la maravillosa labor.
Friends dedicated to the wonderful work of agriculture, of fruit production, which is such a beautiful, grateful and rewarding work. As you can see, here this tree is in full bloom and its surroundings are of full broadleaf weeds with little flowers that attract pollinating agents. In this case, little bees.
Logramos estas floraciones haciendo aplicaciones.
We achieve these blooms by applying to the tree's plate every 20 days, between 20 and 30 days. We have to give food to the avocado. We apply fertilizers that come from poultry manure, compost, and for control, especially in this region. I don't know if all of them happen. We have strong attacks from the pasador. It damages a good percentage of the avocado production. We manage it with sulfurcasio, which is a biopreparation that we make here in the same farm. And this management, this fumigation, must be done more or less every 12 days. It is a maximum time that we must have between one fumigation and the other, because the pasador is quite aggressive and it does a lot of damage. It produces a black spot, a hole. It burrows in the seed, in the nut of the avocado when it's being formed, and as the fruit grows, it also grows with the fruit and then the leaves. But it has already left its eggs there too. because when it hatches, it has already done the total damage. That is the avocado that when you open it has a black spot and it goes up to the seed. So this is a very difficult animal to control. Let's say that in our orchard is the only problem we have, because otherwise we keep the trees with good ventilation, with good aeration. We have very good sunlight that stimulates. We also do pruning, because it is another point to take into account. We have to lower the height of the trees, because they go up like crazy. Then they are tremendously tall trees. That makes the spraying process difficult. Even if one handles stationary at 5 to 6 meters, it is very difficult for the product to reach it, and also for the harvesting process. It avoids work accidents, facilitates the process, and makes it much easier to harvest the fruit because it is at a lower height. There is less risk of the operator dropping it and hitting it. It is safer because they are harvesting it more easily. They are putting it very carefully in the basket, and we are going to deliver fruit without bruises or bruises in perfect condition for the end consumer.
Bueno, amigos de TV Agro.
Well, friends of TV Agro, we have reached the end of this space, but I did not want to say goodbye without first showing you the wonderful interaction between avocado and tangerine cultivation. Look at the harvest we have, so good and so beautiful. With this coverage of broadleaf weeds, we already have fruits in avocados. That is, everything is in perfect harmony. I hope that you have managed to enjoy this short space and understand the point of view of those of us who cultivate in harmony with the environment, managing soil cover, adapting to the real context of our geographical location, that we are in the tropics and that we must keep our soils covered to ensure the preservation of moisture and permanent oxygenation of the soil, that we can also make our own fertilizers, our own biopreparations for pest control, thus lowering costs and still obtaining excellent crops, excellent productions, which we will deliver to the final consumer healthy, clean of agrotoxins. I am Mireya Ardila, and for me it has been a pleasure to share my experience of almost 20 years cultivating the countryside. As a woman, we lived in the city. I raised my daughters in the city, but I loved alternating my work in the city with the work on the farm. And today, to see this wonderful result and to be able to share it and invite you to be a part of this new green revolution, different from the first, because this one is already very conscious of the environment, preserving our natural surroundings and allowing biodiversity to be a part of the economic and agricultural production of the country. Thank you very much.
La producción económica y agrícola del país. Muchas gracias.